Okay, so we'll wait a few minutes for people to join, and then we'll get started. Okay, so before we get started, let me tell you what exactly will be the agenda for today's live stream. This is named Baby Steps in JavaScript, so do not expect that you will be learning very advanced topics here. It is just to get you started with JavaScript. The intended audience, as said, was people who are getting started with JavaScript. So to attend this webinar, you do not need any previous knowledge or any other things like that. So what we'd be doing today is we'd be just creating a simple server and solving few issues that you might have in Express and any other doubts that you might face during the time. And I'd like to say that the chat session is open. If you face any questions or doubts, like I'll be regularly checking it out so that you can quickly ask your doubts and I can clear them off. Also, a few instructions would be given about Git as well, because few people approached me and said that they wanted to get started with Git as well. So in the starting itself, we'll be using Git to start make a repository and other things, so that you can have a bit feeling with Git first, so that you can actually work on GitHub. So first of all, we'll create a new repository. You go to github.com and make sure you're logged in. You need an account for that. You click on this particular green button, it says new, you click on it. Now by this, here it shows you a nice little window. Here it shows you the account in which you want to create. It will show you all the list of accounts that you have rights to create a repository in. You just make sure that it's your username and select what should be the name, Baby Steps in JS. It says yes, this particular name is available. Now in the description, you can write any short line which basically tells what exactly are the contents. So here you say contents written during YouTube Live. All good. Here there are two options, public and private. Public basically means that your repository will be visible to everyone, and private basically means that only you can you can see it. So let's keep it public for now, and do not initialize it with readme. Even if you do, there's no problem. So I say that do not initialize it, and then simply you might see this or not. If you have CodeCom installed, you will see this. If you have any other applications installed, you will see this, or most probably you will not. Then you simply click on this particular green button which says create repository. Yes. So now what you see is, now you see that you have created this empty repository here. Now we'll be adding components to it. Like we'll be adding files, we'll be committing, and we'll be pushing everything into it. So for that, open up a terminal. In Unix system, in Ubuntu, the shortcut is Ctrl-Alt-T, and you'll have a nice little terminal. You open wherever you want to, you change the directory to wherever you want to go. I say desktop as well as projects. Okay, so I'll be doing things here, and all what I do is there are two things that you can do. First is you yourself run git init, that's one, or the other thing is you just git clone this. This will particularly be very easy because it will automatically skip one command which you would have to write here, right? So you will not be required to write this. So once you clone it, you simply go to git now you have this particular file. If you do LA, you'll see that you have a nice little .git folder, which basically has all the configurations of the version control system, that is Git. You can open your favorite code editor. I am using VS Code during this. I would recommend you to also do that because this code is good. And okay, now you can open a terminal using control and tilde, TILDE. And I'll show you a nice little terminal here. And if you are not very familiar with the shortcuts, you can go up. There is this nice little thing within a terminal here. You click on the new terminal and then you can open a new terminal. That is it. You can use Control D to quickly exit it. Now, there are no particular files here, so I would be doing one thing. I would just write code app.js. And what VS Code would do, it would open a new tab with the file name app.js. You press Control S, that is for saving, and then this particular file is saved, and on the left side you can see that it is visible here that this file is saved. Also, if you see carefully, here this little icon says that there is one change in the repository. So whenever I say repository, I means this particular folder that is stored. This particular folder that is stored. Nice. Now here, first of all, we'll be running a few normal JavaScript commands, and then we'll be moving on to Express. So just to get a feel of it, I'll be doing just in JavaScript. Whenever you want to print out anything very simple things, you say console.log hello world. That is done. And now you do node app.js. Ideally, you should see hello world. That is done. That is your first program in JavaScript. That is the hello world program. This is it. Now, since I said that this would be the hello world introductory session for backend, we would most probably be needing something known as a package. So what we do is you run npm init. What this does is it basically would ask you a few questions. Okay, you just say yes, this is the yes version 1.1 description, nothing actually. Entry point is app.js. You just press enter for the defaults, and if you want to write anything else, you can write that name here. Test command is nothing right now. Git repository, it has already picked that up. That is the reason I used git clone on an empty repository, which ideally is insane because that does nothing. Keywords, just skip them for now. Author, if you want to write, yes, you can write. I write my own name, Yash Kumar Verma, and then if my email, like gmail.com. License, I say MIT. Is this okay? Yes. And now you see that we have a nice little package.json file created over here. Now this package.json file, as I said in my previous stream, is basically used to specify all the things that are there in your particular application. So when I say package.json, it basically specifies all the things that your application is depending on. And like once we'll include Express, this you will also see that it will have something like a dependency here somewhere. It does not have, because we do not have any modules linked to it. Once we start adding modules to it, those files would start coming here. So I would keep that open just parallelly so that you can see how and when things change as we add more things. So just to remove some things, I would be removing the author, license, works, homepage, and this would still be fine. So now you see that we have a nice clean package.json, so not much things to focus on. And now let's move over to the Express documentation. This particular website is probably enough to refer for this tutorial. The reason being, Express, see, whenever someone asks me about any video course for anything, what I do is I recommend them to read the documentation. And the reason for that is documentation is basically written in first-hand with first-hand experience, and documentation is the purest form from which you can refer. If someone tries to read a documentation and then tries to explain that to you, that is not 100% knowledge being transferred. If the amount of knowledge stored in the documentation is 100%, they read about 80% of it and then tell you about 50% of it, and you'll only grasp about 25% of it. That is what leads to incomplete knowledge. So the best part is you go to expressjs.com. I'm sharing the link. Yes. So this is the particular documentation, and it says you can install Express by npm install express. Nice and good. Let's go back to our terminal, and then we say npm, or just paste it, npm install express. Once you do that, npm would start looking for the packages that Express depends on, that it will make a nice little folder for us that's called node modules, and everything that Express depends on, all those files would be downloaded, and it basically makes sure that you are able to run Express without any particular issues. Not particularly Express, any package in general. So now you see that there are these 4 files now. Node modules, if you look into node modules, you will see a whole ton of packages. Now this is what Express basically comes along with, because Express is somewhere depending on this, depending on this, depending on this. So that is what a package manager does. Now in package manager we have choices for yarn, we have choices for npm. So we're just getting started, and that is not in the scope of this webinar to discuss about yarn or npm. So we are just using npm. If you wish, you can use yarn. The command for that would be yarn add express, right? It is completely your personal choice. You have to select one and just continue with it. Now you might see one thing, that this particular icon shows 329 changes, and when I say 329 changes, it tells us all these files are created, and it's keeping track of all the changes that are being done in that. We do not need that, because we are not basically writing these modules, and we basically do not care what goes in these modules. Even if you delete node modules and then run npm install again, which I'll be doing right now, you'll see that these particular files come back by themselves. So let's do one thing. Let's remove the node modules, rm rf node modules. Let's refresh this. Now you see that node modules folder is gone, and what I do again, I say npm install, and you see that the node modules folder would be created back again with the same contents. You might not have noticed this. This time we used npm install and not npm install express or yarn add express. The reason being, when you run npm install, basically npm installs all the dependencies that are here. Earlier I said we'll be adding more content here. You see npm has already added this. It says you have these particular dependencies, that is the name of the dependency is express, and it says the version has to be this. If you have any questions, you can ask in the comment section. Now let's move on. We have written our hello world app, and let's do one thing. We must keep track of the things we are doing. So I just say code code done.md. Now .md basically stands for markdown. This particular extension GitHub is very well versed with. You write things in .md in markdown. What GitHub will do is it will ensure that these files are shown properly in GitHub. So if you write a .txt file, you cannot you cannot have a lot of markup attached to it. You cannot add images to it. You cannot add bold, highlighting, underlined, lists and other things. So .md is basically your friend when you're working on GitHub, because this will allow you to use the textual features that are there. So I'll be showing how you can use .md. There's one extension in VS Code which allows you to add things like this. I'll be sharing the link of the extension after this video stream ends in the description itself, so you can have a look at that. That can make your life very easy. So let's see, we say things done in what? Things done in YouTube Live, or instead baby steps taken. And to make it a heading, you just do this. That is done. Now in VS Code, there's this nice little shortcut which you can use. That's Control Shift V. And when you do that, you can see the actual way it would be rendered there on GitHub. So I'll post the shortcut, that is Control Shift V, right? And then you see that once you write Control Shift V, you can see that what it would be rendered into. So the first thing that we did today was write hello world program. That was just a simple console log, and then you did using you just got to know about package.json, and then you see VS Code actually trying to help us out by adding the things that we might actually add. And then what we did next was installed Express. What we did next was you got to know about node modules, and what else, and what did you get to know about them? You got to know that node modules folder is not useless, can be regenerated. Can be regenerated again using npm install. I save it, I see how it has gone, and you see that markdown compiler has basically transformed it into a nice little markup so that you can share it easily. And since we are writing the tasks which are here, which we have done, so there is no point of adding these clauses. These basically ensure that you have checkboxes. Okay, so now you see it has been transformed into bullets. I'll just zoom that up. So you see you wrote your hello program, package.json, installed Express, and got to know about node modules. Now got okay. Now the next thing which we are doing is we will write hello world of Express. Now before we do that, I'll tell you one more thing. So, a few minutes back, I told you about 330 changes that our application was showing, and we are not responsible for these. So what you do is there's this file known as node git ignore. So basically what .git ignore does is it tells Git is the version control system that we are using. It tells Git to ignore the changes that are going on in any particular repository. So there's this nice little extension which allows you to quickly add git ignore files, and I say node here, node.git ignore. And now you see it says only 5 changes. How is that possible? Let's see. It has created this little file here. It says .git ignore, and what git ignore does is, let's check out the contents. This is particularly a template that I've saved for my projects, or you can create a very simple one as well. Let's delete everything. You say node, or instead, let me show you the wildcards that are being used. You see, you can use even wildcards here. It says that ignore all the files that end with log. Ignore all the files which have a structure like this: npm, debug, log, and anything after that. Those are regular expressions being used. Ignore all the reports here. Ignore all the files that end with .pid, .seed, things like that. Ignore all the lgov reports, .nyc output. These are the things that come up in test coverages, and so on and so forth. You'll somewhere see node modules. That is the entire file we need. You just take that line, delete everything, you just keep that. And then you see, yes, it is still not keeping track of node modules. So now you know that you need to just write one single line, and it will ignore all the things that are going on in node modules. That is something very specific to Git, right? Let's close that and see what are the changes that we have made. So this command known as Git Status. So I think this is not a thing here. Okay. quick hack, you write ps1 equals to, and then you do something like this, and it quickly changes the entire text over there. That is, you can change it in .bash rec file. Again, not a scope of this webinar, but just in case we were using it, so it's my duty to tell you how to use it. You see it, I do ls, it shows me all the 4 files that are here. I do git status, and it shows you haven't made any commits, and these are the untracked files that are there. So, and it also tells you nothing added to commit, but untracked files present, use git add to track, right? It says these files are not being tracked. To track them, use git add. So everything that you actually need to do is given in front of you. You do git add, and if you want to add app.js, yes, you have done. Now let's see git start. Now let's do git status again. We say git status, it says yes, you have one file there. So you can do like git add star.json. What this would do is, now you do git status, you see it has included both the files .json here. So now you know that you can use regular expressions with git. So just like with it, git add, and we added all JSON files using .star JSON. Here git add .star JSON. So you can use the regular expressions here, or just in case you're too tired to think, you just say git add and then you put a dot. What this would do is, this would add all the files that are there in the current directory, as well as the other directory, as well as in subdirectories as well. So it will make sure that you need not to do anything, and you say git status. This time everything is staged. Nice. Changes to be committed. Now it is asking you to commit the changes. So how do you commit? You say git commit, you just press enter. So it would open a text editor, and it shows you that these are the new files that we have made. It will ask you to, basically this is expecting you to enter a short commit message. I say starting with baby steps in JavaScript and git, right? And then it says, you'd see right out, it's given this O. So you press Control CTRL and O. It says, yeah, you want to what do you want to name it as? You just press enter, because Git's doing everything for us in the background, and then you do Control X. It would exit from it, and then you see that you've actually made a nice little commit. You see Git status again, nothing. That is it. There are no changes, nothing to commit. There have been changes, but those have been committed. If you are in a hurry and then you want to basically specify the commit message in a single command, then I'll show you how to do that. Let's do the next thing that we need to. You do git push. I'm not sure if it runs. Basically, okay, it runs. Or you could have done git push origin master. That I'll tell you when do you have to use things like that. So the basic command which you can use it, git push. So once you check this repository now, you see that all those files are here, and the commit message that we wrote is being listed here. I'll share this link with you. Yes, Rajat, those are changed in the actual repo only when you push, right? So it doesn't matter how many changes I make. For instance, I say instead of hello world, I say hey Rajat, right? Now once I save it, you see here, I refresh it, no changes are being made. I come down, and then here what to do is I do git status. It shows you have modified app.js. It will not send anything until you have actually get pushed. Push means sending things away from you. You do git add all, you do git commit, and this time I've got the opportunity to show you. I do git commit -m. -m stands for this is the commit message that you want, and you do not want to open that entire text editor again. Press Ctrl O to save, Ctrl X to exit. You just git commit -m, and you say saying hello to Rajat. And you press enter, the commit is done. Now you do git push, and last time I did git push, this time I'd be doing git push origin master. Origin basically refers to what you're doing, and master is the name of the branch to which you want to push. So if you check out this now, you'll see that it would say hello Rajat somewhere. Yeah, it says saying hello to Rajat. If you open app.js, you see that yes, the file contents have changed. So I think that answers your question, that file contents are only changed after you do git push. Any other questions? Had problem with keeping the fork repos updated? Any tips on this and the pullbot? Yes, surely. So I see that you're already using pullbot. Pullbot will basically pull the changes from the source repository, that is, we say the project that you're working on, to your particular repository, that is the thing you have cloned. So that would be done automatically by pullbot. The problems that you might be facing is pullbot will be hard writing the changes in the main branch. So if you check out this, so if you check out this, it shows here branch master, and once you click on it, you see that you are on the master branch. The master branch is basically considered to be the main branch, and what pullbot does is, you can configure pullbot I guess, but let's not move like deeper into those things. What it does is, it basically pulls the master branch, and it will take all the things that are there in the master branch and put it on your fork. And what the problem is, if you have work on your master branch, it will basically rewrite it, making your life a bit difficult. So I'll be showing how to work with branches, and like those are very interesting. Wait. And so let's move on to a bit more in JS further, and let's see the Express documentation in a glance. Let's move to the getting started. What does Express tell about getting started? It says npm init, we have done it, entry point done, npm install express, that's done. Move on to the hello world. Okay, so let's copy paste exactly that, and let's explain that to you. It says const express equals to require express. So here what you're doing is, you are basically including an instance of the express package into your application. All the libraries that Express provides, all the functions, classes and everything that Express provides, you are assigning that to Express. That is the first line. I'll be adding comments here. You see, load the Express package to a variable, and it is not exactly a variable, it is a constant. And why are we using a const here? Const basically stands for constant. You cannot reassign it. It is just to make sure that by mistake you do not somewhere like overwrite the express variable and mess up your application. So this will prevent that from happening. And now we say const app equals to express. What it does is create an instance of express. So if you've read about classes, what you're doing is, you are just creating a new object of express and assigning it to the app. So now basically app is in, you do app dot, and then you see all these functions that are being defined in express, which our app variable is assigned now. So now what you do is, you say const port equals to 3000. Let's remove that line. Okay, since you're following the documentation strictly, let's not remove that. And I say the port to which the application must listen on. So when you will run your local server, there are a lot of ports, because see, the concept of port was basically introduced because sometimes you might have to run more than one application on one server. So all these, like what they do is, they listen to different ports and then they respond to them. So we are making our application respond to the port 3000. What you do is, we'll be writing this particular line again. We say reply hello when root is exist. Now root is a very cliche term that we use in server backend development. Root basically means the main root basically means the root of the tree, or the thing place from where the things start. So when you do app dot, you see get here, you see post here, you see delete here, you see put here. Now these are all the types of requests that exist in the standards. So whenever you open a website, all you do is the get request, and whenever you submit forms or whenever you're trying to send data, you use update or you use put or post requests. So you see get, and what do you want to respond on? I say okay, respond on the root. And what do you want to respond? I say request and response. Now rec and rest, many people think that this has to be this. Now this particular thing I said yesterday in the webinar itself, people think that it has to be rec and rest specifically. You can say incoming request response to be sent. This can be like this also. So I'll just keep that as long as possible so that you do not have any confusions. You do not have to cram that it is a rec or rest. It's just incoming request. That's a request, and response to be sent. And why I say that response to be sent, you put a dot and it shows all these things. I just for the time being, let's use a simple send. Dot send will send a normal string, and you say hello world. Get it? And now we are asking our application to make application listen and respond. Very important, because we are also sending responses to it. It's not only listening. And respond, it means basically interact on port 3000. You have described 3000 here. Now you say app.listen, and whenever that runs, this is a callback function that is fired. What it does is console.log example lab listening on localhost colon. Now let's try running that. We do node app.js. If I have not messed up, that I usually do, you should see no error messages, and okay, this particular command is running. Now example lab doesn't look good. Let's say my beast server is running on. You press Ctrl C to cancel the things, and you use the above and bottom arrows to like move through the commands. You say node app.js, and you see my beast server is running on localhost colon 3000. 3000 is the port number, and you see it says hello world. Congratulations, your beast is saying hello there. Now I'll be just back in a while. I see the lighting is not proper. Give me a second. Sorry for that. Now I guess you can see it easily. Where was I? Okay. Now if you've seen that, okay, and now we are in a position, congratulations by the way, you have just written your complete server from scratch using Express, and I've written all the comments as well, so that must not be a problem. I guess now you are in a position to write better things. Yeah, I was just about to do that. Can you make a branch and push? Surely that is what I'm doing next. Now since we have a lot of time, and this would be recorded, so if you're in a hurry to go, you can leave it now. I would be doing what we usually do. Let's create an issue on GitHub. Right, you see this nice little button here, it says new issue. It should be red actually. Why is it green? Okay, now you say is, what do you want to be done? You say add sample Express application, right? And then you say add a. Now this particular is the issue body. This title is seen above as you would expect, and this is the body where you add details about it. So it is always good to add more and more context to the issues that you make. It is basically so that the other person can know more about them. And then you say add simple express application, please add some code, and you can click on the preview. Basically preview is because you might be including some markdown, and then you say talk is cheap, show me the code, and then you say okay, this has been converted into a block quote, and I do not know who said that, so I cannot write the author there, but still I can say you can use 3 lines to move a line, and it's hosted by, and then what you can do is maybe use double triangle Yash Kumar Verma, and then when you go to the preview you say yeah, that's bold, so you can read more about the markdown markup. You see submit new issue. So congratulations, you just opened a new issue in your repository, and that is how we also do with other projects. So this is my assistant, that is Kratos from God of War, if you can identify him. He works part-time as my assistant, so it basically comments and does other beautiful things like that. On some webinar I'd be showing how to make one Kratos for yourself. If Kratos finds this out, he would surely kill me for that. Okay, moving on. Now, as the doubt said, can you make a branch and push it? Yes. So ideally what happens is at one point of time you will have you will basically have more than one issues open, like more than one pull request. You would not be working on one thing. Instead you will be like making a pull request for one thing and then moving on to a different thing to work on that. Yeah. And then like you will be making one pull request and then moving on to the other thing to work on that. So it is always recommended to like have different branches for everything. So I'll be showing how to use branches. Now let's start. And like, should we remove it? Okay, let's do ps1 equals to. Now this looks somewhat like the Python REPL that we have. Okay. So now, okay, we have to create branches. So what you do is you do git branch. Now git branch is the command that we are using to like list all the branches that exist right now. This is one uglier version of it that you do git branch -a, and it basically shows all the branches that are there, even the hidden ones or the internal ones. We do not need that, do not use it. You do git branch and you say your current branch is master. If you're using VS Code, you can see in the bottom left corner, you can see that we are on the branch master. So that way you can always keep record of it. So if like as a side note, if you see all these extensions here and you just want to know what are there, ping me up, I can tell you, or maybe we can have a session on setting up an environment someday. Basically I've done this to never leave VS Code once I open my system. Okay, moving on. So you do git branch, and now you see that there's this master branch. I say git branch and I'm solving this issue, right? They say issue -1 adding code. What? Git told us nothing. It's true one thing. Let's just list all the branches that we have, and we see that yes, there is actually one branch made, and it is named git. I'll zoom in. Yeah, now good. So now you do git branch, you see issue1 adding code, and this is the master. Now you see that the current branch that VS Code tells you is master, and you see here that it is highlighted as well, and the other branch that we just created is not highlighted. This means that the current active branch is the master branch. So what we do is we want to check it out. You do git checkout and issue. Congratulations, You just changed your branch from master to issue1 adding code, and VS Code also tells you that. And there's this VS Code utility to create a new branch and create new branch from. Not recommended. Like, always know the code that is going behind all that, so that whenever you need, you can switch easily. You do git branch once. Ideally it should show green color or whatever color you have configured with the name of the active branch, and it should be adding issue1 adding code. Let's press enter, and congratulations, the active branch is issue1 adding code. All nice and good. So let's do git status, and you see that you have modified app.js. Okay, let's add this file app.js, and let's commit. You say adding code for example. You've added code, and just like what I usually do, you would now do git push origin master, and this would throw an error. It shows everything is up to date. The reason behind that is, when you're doing git push origin master, what you're doing is you're trying to push the contents of your master branch, that is not the active branch, to the repository. You're trying to push the contents, I'll repeat, from the master branch to the repository. So one particularly useful feature of Git is you can switch between branches at any point of time, and you can see that you have done what progress in which branch. So as you see that all these this particular file was written in issue1 adding code branch. Let's go check out the master branch, and you see in the master branch the contents of app.js is hey Rajat. So I guess now you get how this is working. Once you switch branches, you can actually maintain different streams of code in different things. As you do git check out issue1 adding code, this particular thing's changed, and yeah, that's an intimidating bot. Kratos, God of War. Yeah. So you do git check out master. As you see, this is nothing there. And just in case if you find that okay, I had to do some change in done.md, so you always recommended you do git branch once to see which branch you're active on, and always make branches from the master branch. You do git branch updating to do. Now as you see, you were on the master branch, and then you have written git branch updating to do. Then you check out updating to do. It says to switch to branch updating.to do. Ideally in app.js, since you have created the branch from the master branch which had hey Rajat, that is what the contents of all the child branches you are making. All your child branches always should be made from the master branch, until and unless you know very clearly what you are doing, right? Sometimes there would be cases you might need to create branches from a child branch that you made, but that is completely not required when you are just learning the basics. You always make it a point to make the child branches only from the master branch. Now you say git branch, it says updating to do, so I guess we must update the to do. Yes. Now what we are doing is you got to know a bit about Markdown, and wrote hello world of Express, got to know a bit about Markdown, and you are learned how to create branches. Nice. You save it, and now you do git status. You see it says modified done.md. Now if you're paying attention, you would notice that the app.js has the contents of the things that we wrote way back. Our different branch has all the Express code that we have written, and that is not showing up here. And this particular branch has an updated done.md. So all these, you have the master branch, you have this updating to do branch, and you have the issue one branch that's adding code. All these three are running parallelly to each other, and they might conflict at some point of time, but they would they would conflict only when you try to merge them. But before that, you can basically run multiple copies of the branches in one environment. So I'll rephrase that. You can basically have one particular hand with three or four pointing fingers, and all these can have separate instances of code, or you can do changes to one branch and it would remain completely isolated from the changes that you have in the different branch, and so you can do for the other branches as well. So this is what is usually required when you're making multiple pull requests to some project that you're working on, so that the changes that you're making for one pull request are not shown in different pull requests. So I show to git commit -m we say adding a new branch nodes to done.md. Okay, we haven't added. Git add commit and done. This is commit. And now let's do one thing. Let's play a little game. Let's open app.js at one place, done.md at another place. Now, any questions here? No. Okay. Now we do git checkout master. In the master, you see the app from done.md is missing. Done.md is missing, and from app.js also the code is missing. You do git branch to list all the branches that are there. You do git checkout issue one adding code, and then there you see that the code is there in app.js, but done.md is still the same. From here you do git checkout updating to do. You see that the to do is updated, but app.js has the old contents. So now you see that all these three branches are editing different files. They might edit the same file as well, but that does not matter. All these three have their separate copies of the code base that you are currently working on, and they would basically ensure that you can work on all the three things at once without actually disturbing the things that you must not actually disturb. Like when I was updating the to do, I had nothing to do with app.js, and as you see in this particular branch, nothing is being changed in app.js. That is the expected behavior. The branches will make sure that you are doing clean things. Okay, so now time to push code. You see git branch updating to do. I say git push origin master. This would show nothing to commit, nothing to push, everything up to date, nothing to push. Now when you want to push this branch, I'll just show that these branches currently do not exist in the repository that we have. You click on the branches, you see only one branch, and that's the master branch. So you do git push origin and then the branch name that you want to push, git push origin updating to do. Once this is executed, it will upload all the things to the server, to the GitHub servers, and it shows you a few things that are sent from the remote. Basically means the server, and it says the new branch is created and things like that. Just completely ignore it. Now you see that yes, your recently pushed branches updating to do, and now if you refresh once, this must show two branches here. It shows two branches. You click on it and you see you have a master branch and you have an updating to do branch. Let's do one thing. Let's git checkout issue one adding code and git push origin issue one adding code. Now this would push one more branch. Good. Now you refresh it, it must show one more branch. Good. Now you see that you have two active branches. And let's open a pull request from issue one adding code. Yes, you see issue one adding code. You click on compare and pull request, and then it is able to merge. Congratulations. And you say fixes #1 simple express application, and now you say added code, and then you click on this button which says create pull request. So this will basically create a pull request, and congratulations, you've just created a pull request. And if you see, it will show only one commit adding code, for example. And here you can see that changes on only is then the changes of only app.js are being listed here. Now for instance, let's assume, okay, let's open one more pull request for the other branch, and then I'll show you how you update the pull request without sending another pull request, because that's what a lot of people do. Now I'll send a pull request from the other branch. Okay, so now we have two active pull requests, that is adding a branch nodes, adding the branch nodes to, who wrote this? Okay, I actually wrote this. Say updating nodes. Yeah, Kratos working for us there itself for opening. It's actually thanking us for opening pull request. Nice. Okay, now you have two open pull requests, and both of them have different files that are being changed. So I will show them parallelly here. And let's do one thing now. You do git branch to check out which branch you are in. That's your issue when adding code. And here what you do is you add one more route. Back to teaching Express now. You do app.get. You do app.get and you say /user. And let's get back to the nice and dirty backend res. You say res.send hello user, and then you do node app.js. The beast is running and you open localhost 3000. As you see, when you access the root, it said hello world, and ideally if my code is right, if I do /user, it must say hello user. I say /user and it says hello user. So I guess now you know how to work with it. And like, let's create two more, and hello, let's say Yash here, and hello Dhruv here, and here I say hello Yash, and here I say hello Dhruv. Now I again run the server. Hello user says yeah, hello Yash says hello Yash, hello Dhruv says hello Dhruv. But you might think that if we want to have something that is usually done in big applications, you have like user /Yash, and then you see all the details of Yash, user /Dhruv, all the details of Dhruv. So how do you make it dynamic? That is what is actually the work of params or parameters. So when you're writing that, it is basically done using a small colon. I'll add a comment first, using params. Using params to get data from URL, and this basically uses matching of the. This basically matches the URL one segment and then the other, and then shows the result. So I'll show you an example, and then it would be clear for you. You do app.get and you say user /username. Pay attention to this. We used a colon username, and we say that it is request, it is response, and this is basically a short form of writing functions in JavaScript. And here we do response dot send, and here we say hello. Now for those of you who are paying attention, you might have noticed I've used this particular syntax, that is a $sign, and then you have two curly braces, and between that you can write any JavaScript you want quickly inside the strings. So the above line is basically equivalent of doing this. Now you see. Now let's run the first one. These two are equivalent. I'll comment this one. It is always expected to use this line 32 for concatenating strings in JavaScript. So when you do user/username, you must see the username. So user/truth, because the server, we did not restart the server. Let's restart the server. Username is not defined. We did something bad here. It is actually rec dot request dot params dot username. It must run, else my years of academic service would be wasted. Yes, now you see that the username is here. You say Yash Kumar Verma. You say hello Yash Kumar Verma. You say hello Apple. You say hello Apple. You say hello Steve Jobs. You say hello Steve Jobs. Now you see that we are reading data from here. Yeah. Now what we do is let's add a more complex thing on this. User/ye/age and hello ye, I know that you are, you say request dot params dot age years old. So ideally what this would do is you do /Steve Jobs. How many reminders do I have? Steve Jobs. Time to restart the server. You open Steve Jobs, it says hello Steve Jobs, and you do 60. Hi Steve Jobs, I know that you're 60 years old, but he's dead, sorry. Let's say Yash Kumar Verma, and I say 20. Hello Yash Verma, I know that you are 20 years old, and when we are not specifying it, you see hello Yash Kumar Verma. So basically all the things are checked in a sequential manner. So first of all, it checked for the username thing, and if the URL matches this particular format, then this is run. And if it has like user / some particular string and then a / again and any other data that follows it, then you have that particular syntax running. So that is basically it for reading data from Express. I've told you how to write a simple application. I've told you how to write a route. These are basically called routes. I've told you how to send responses. A quick thing. Instead of just send data which are basically difficult to read for your clients, because once you're writing APIs, they might expect data in .json format. Okay, a lot of questions here. So sometimes you can like try sending data like this. You say response dot JSON, and then you say message : and here you can say hello . This would do is it returns a JSON response. So it returns something like this. So this you can like quickly use it to send JSON responses. Let's see, we have a few questions here. How do I keep my files updated while making my own changes? This issue occurred while working on the teams.json file and making a pull request. Basically, whenever you're trying to make a pull request, always make sure that you use one particular command, that is git pull origin master. What this would do is it would basically load the changes from your forked repository onto your, this would basically like load the repository like from the, okay, I just read that comment better than most of the YouTube videos out there, so I'm smiling now, thanks. So basically what this would do is this would load the changes from your forked repository onto your own repository. So whenever you're trying to make changes, always do one thing. Go to your master branch, do git pull origin master. It will load all the changes onto your like local system, and then you make a branch of it, and then you send the data. That is how it is. I was using the quotes and faced overloading issues. Will keep in mind using the dollar format. Yes, And like this is just another notation to use. If you want, if you're comfortable with using pluses everywhere, you can. But once you start using linters are basically that enforce a particular code style. So once you start using them, you might have issues in those, because linters basically are very typically very strict when it comes to the code styling. This much is done. Okay, important thing, like as you said, now let's check out a pull request that we have made, adding code for example. And what if like I am a grumpy maintainer, I go here and I say okay, I cannot pull request changes on my own pull request, sorry. So what if some maintainer comes and says, okay, you're adding code, do one thing. There's a particular section in review where I go here. Shall I show you how to review? We are running short of time actually. Let's do it. github/log.coders. Let's open this particular repository. You'll have, okay, we have 6 pull requests. I shall be able to happily reject 3 of them at least. Adding team details, and okay, let's see how many files are being changed. A lot of files are being changed, and we would say okay, nice and good. We click on this review changes, I say request changes, and I say please only add your own details, don't try not to edit the entire file. And then you submit the review request changes, and then the other person would have to add more commits to them. Now you say as it changes, requested changes now, and you see your message over there. Now let's close that for now. Yeah. So maybe let's assume that someone does that to me and says, hey, add more code. Now this is me asking me to do something for me, and now I have to push more code. So what I do is I just quickly go to Git Branch. You can quickly say here it says issue 1 adding code, right? And what you do is you make sure you're on the same branch, that is Git Branch. You do Git Branch, issue 1 adding code. You do Git Status. You say Git add dot. You say Git Commit adding more code, because maintainer wants it. The spelling was wrong, and this would happen a lot of times. So what you do is this nice command was git commit -m -amend, and once you press enter, you see it will show you a place where you can edit the things that you have done. So you might start abusing the maintainer and the commit messages, and you think, okay, it is not the right place to abuse them. So you do okay, because it's my duty actually. Late realizations, Control O, Control X. Now you see git log. Git log basically allows you to see what exactly has been happening. And reading these are kind of tough sometimes, so chill. If you're not able to figure out what's happening, just simply do git log and see the latest commit message, adding more code, because it's my duty. We all know what was written way before that. Now you do git push origin issue 1 adding code. Now if you were not using branches, adding commit to one of the pull requests would be reflected in all the pull requests that you have open. So it is completely pushed, and let's refresh this page. Basically that was not required because the commits were updated, and you see that okay, it shows 2 commits here, adding code for example and adding more code because it's my duty. And then you see the changed files, you see yes, all this code is here. But wait a second, let's see what would have happened if you were not using branches. This pull request in which we were updating the nodes, you check the commits and it still has only 1 commit. Changes that are being made to this particular branch are not showing up here. Okay, so let's do one thing. Let's git branch once more, git checkout, updating to do, and then in the to.md learned how to create branches, how to change commit messages, explained about updating pull requests, and then that is, yeah, did we write somewhere like you are reading data? Okay, we also did one thing. We got to know how to read data from URL. I should do git status. Please make sure that you're on the right branch. Always do git branch before you commit. You see git add dot, you see git commit -m. It says final update to nodes. If you have questions, you can start asking them. Then we'll be winding off. You'll see in my reminders. I have to attend somewhere else. I do this. And what I do is I do git push. Did I commit? Git log? Yes, I did. I do git push origin master. Okay, even if you do, it won't show anything. Yeah, and git push origin, and you say updating to do. Nice and good. Now you see that one commit is added here, and this would always, as obvious, not be shown up here. These two commits are adding are there for adding the commits itself, and just finally just merge this pull request, and then you open the notes thing. See Kratos thanking me. If you are a God of War fan, you would see Kratos never doing that actually. And merge pull request and confirm merge. All set, the pull requests are merged, and now if you check out the code base, you will have a .getignore file. You see node modules are not here because we do not want to circulate our 300 MBs node modules to everyone. You see your app.js, you see your done.md, you have your package and package.js. The app.js is all the code that we wrote today with the comments that I myself wrote. Congratulations to me. And you see all the markdown that has been written over here in a nice beautiful format, and that is basically it. I have covered Git and Express and working with Git command line, working with branches, and even made a pull request and everything that has been done. If you have any questions, I am here for about 5 more minutes. I guess the delay is not that much. 5 minutes would be enough. So please ask your questions. I am here for them. And just in case if few of you who are not still who are still trying to learn web development, and you want to basically work on some project, like that is what I usually recommend when you're learning a language. Always work on a project. And just in case if you want to start off a project, I have a team with me that is working on a nice project. So that is logged up coders. So this is the organization. I'm sharing the URL in the comment section, and we have our own bot that recently went functional. You have our own code being written in TypeScript, and everything that's happening here and there. We have our own website, so just in case if you want to try your hands on some actual project, you're most welcome, because all the things that are being done here are being done by beginners, and I would be helping you sort the things out, sort the messes that you make, and will be helping you out to create more messes as and when needed. So if there would be no questions by now, I would be closing the session. And I see that there are no questions. I hope it was a good time being with you. You guys have been an awesome audience. If I've done good, hit a like, and as most cliche YouTubers do, hit like if you like it and dislike if you didn't, and make sure you subscribe. Okay, bye bye.